somebody just tried to scam me on Facebook. And so I wanted to share the story, both because I think some of the details are pretty funny, but also to help you learn about some red flags to look out for so that you can avoid getting scammed yourself. So the other day I saw a listing on Facebook where someone had said their uncle had just died and left them some comics that they didn't really know much about, and so were looking to sell them for $4,000. And there were some pictures of some pretty big keys like Giant Size X-Men #1. And so I thought this was a collection that might be worth pursuing because, again, I'm just seeing some pictures of what could be a very large collection filled with keys that are worth well more than $4,000. But even in this original listing, there's a little bit of a red flag because the seller says that they aren't in town at the moment. And so right away, I think it's pretty strange that someone lists something for sale but says that they're not available to actually give it to you. And so red flag #1 is when there are just some very unusual, strange details in the listing or the communication. Now, there are just some unusual people out there, so it doesn't automatically mean that it's a scam, but some red flags should start going up to say, hey, I really need to tread carefully here. And as you continue to hear about this story, you're going to hear there are more and more strange details that come out. But anyway, I think it's worth at least pursuing, and so I send the person a message and say, hey, I'm interested in this collection, but I see that you said you're out of town. When do you think you'll come back in? Because I'd love to see the comics and make an offer on them. And so they send me a response back and say that they are in Washington State right now for the funeral and wake for their uncle, and they have the comics there and won't be back in town until a month from now. Now, once again, that's just so weird that you're looking to sell something but can't really do it until a month from now. And the listing was in Richmond, Virginia, which is about an hour away from me. Now, that detail is going to matter in a little bit, but I say, okay, well, should I just try to follow you back up in a few weeks? And then he gets back to me a little bit later with just a bizarre story. And I'm going to read this because the listing's been taken down already, but some of my communication with him. And this is, again, where you start just saying, what in the world is going on? So all of a sudden he says, okay, so 2 of my cousins didn't show up to help pay for the wake and funeral, and so the comics are being sold here. The plan was to bring them back, but we can't. So if you wanted, you can come take a look at them. And obviously, I'm on the other coast from at least where this guy is claiming to be. I really don't know where in the world this guy is because, it's a scam. But I guess he's trying to convince me, hey, these things are real. In fact, you can come take a look at them. And so I believe that he's hoping that I will think this is a real deal because he's offering to let me come see the comics. I mean, he wouldn't do that unless he really has them, right? And so, of course, I respond and say, hey, well, I am on the other coast, so I don't think I can come to Washington State to see these. And but would you be open to shipping them? And he says he would. And so all of a sudden, I start thinking, well, hey, it's possible this is just an unusual guy with an unusual story. If he's willing to ship, we might be able to make a deal. And so I ask, hey, well, can we set up a video chat and then I can see what is in your collection? And I want to do this for 2 reasons. First of all, of course, I can't make a fair offer unless I knew what was in it. But secondly, I want to see if this is a real person with real comics. I feel like if he's not going to set up a video chat with me, then this isn't a real deal. And so he responds by just sending me some videos of some slabs. And again, the red flags are going up. Why wouldn't you set up a video chat with me? And we're talking about a $4,000 deal. I don't think it should be an issue to hop on a quick video chat. But the videos are of some really nice books. And in fact, these books are too nice to be only $4,000. And so here's another red flag. if something is too good to be true by a lot, then it probably is. Now, again, there's exceptions to the rule, and sometimes you will stumble on some incredible deal. And obviously, I am hoping that he's just trying to unload these quickly. But when you put all these red flags together, you're starting to see that this is a scam. Now, while we're communicating, I decide to do a little bit of detective work. And so I click on his profile and start seeing some bizarre things. And so another way that you can protect yourself from a Facebook scam is by clicking on the profile of the potential seller that you're dealing with and look for some fishy things. And so a few things stuck out right away when I clicked on his. First of all, almost all of the pictures were from the same day. And so it just seemed like he was trying to set up this fake account really quick to try to make it look like he was a real person with lots of photos, but all just posted on the same day. And the most weird thing, though, was that there was one picture that was posted before those as a profile photo, and it was a completely different person. In fact, it was a girl. And so, of course, that's really weird. And I don't know if the girl is the actual owner of the account and was creating this kind of fake guy, or if all of it was just fake photos that the scammer was putting together. I mean, who knows? Now, secondly, I searched for this person's name in the Facebook bar, and I'm not going to share the name just because I don't know all the Facebook rules and privacy rules on this, and I don't want to get into any trouble. But I searched his name, and if you search somebody's name, it brings up people with that name, but then it also brings up different listings that people with that name has made. And I found that this same account had made this same listing in several other cities across the East Coast. Remember, his listing was that he was in Richmond, Virginia, the one that I saw, but he also had a listing in Rochester, New York, and somewhere in Pennsylvania. And many of those listings were months old, and there's no way these comics were still sitting on the market for months, and just weird stuff that people don't realize that you can find with just a little bit of research. And so I say that, yeah, I'm interested in those books that you're showing me, but you're also showing me that you have several short boxes and long boxes, and I'm not interested in getting all of those. And so I'm wondering if you would just be willing to sell me some of those that you showed me, because shipping, of course, is going to get to be quite expensive if you send me the whole thing. And really, I would send him $4,000 for just what he showed me. You can just keep all those boxes. And so he says yes, and he says he'll take $750 for them. And now again, I mean, it was already too good to be true. Now it's even more too good to be true. And I'm like, well, okay, I will do that. And so I ask if I can pay through PayPal goods and services. Now, as most of you know, this is the way to pay with a seller that you don't know online, because PayPal offers buyer protection if you buy through goods and services. In other words, if you send payment and the comics don't get to you, or whatever you're buying don't get to you, PayPal will reimburse you. Now, the downside for a scammer is that they reimburse you by taking the money back out of their account and sending it to you. And so another red flag is if someone wants to avoid using PayPal, or there's a couple of other buyer protected services like Venmo. And so he says, hey, I don't have PayPal, I just have Cash App and Apple Pay, and again, these unsecured ways to pay. And he says, but you only have to send me 25%. Yeah, that should make you feel safe, right? And he's, of course, wanted me to feel, oh, well, I'll have to send a couple $100 for all these comics. This would be great. But I say I need to use buyer protection if I'm going to go through some deal with someone for the first time. And I say, hey, I'll pay you an extra $150 if you set up a PayPal account. Once again, I'm pretty sure this is a scam, but I am just interested in this story and making this video that I'm now making. And so I'm willing to pay you, man, just to make this account. And so he says, oh, well, okay, I can do that, but it'll probably take 24 hours. And I'm like, sure, that's not a problem. And then one of the things he starts doing that's another red flag, he starts calling me sir. He says, oh, I can do this, sir, or I can do that, sir. And I saw another YouTuber talk about this. When people start using sir, I don't know why it is this way. It's another big red flag that this is some kind of scam. And so he says, all right, well, I'll set up this PayPal. Fine, yeah, you can pay me this $150. Sounds great. And then he gets back to me. He says, oh, man, I tried to set up this PayPal. And again, with the weird stories and excuses, these are all clear indicators that this is a scam. He says, apparently I had a PayPal account and I forgot and I can't access it now. I'm locked out. And so it's got a recovery phone number, but I don't use that phone number anymore. I haven't in years, and I can't find it in my email, and so I can't set up this PayPal. Again, hey man, he also says again, I only ask for 25%. And it's clear, obviously, this is some kind of scam, and he's just making up these excuses. Now, another weird thing is that this seller doesn't want to use PayPal because they say he, doesn't say I, he says he, speaking of someone else, wouldn't be paying as much in taxes. Because if you use PayPal goods and services over $600, you'll get a notice from PayPal at the end of the year about what you sold, and you have to pay taxes on it. But he references a he, that's not speaking about himself that would be paying these taxes. And that's weird. You said these are your books now. Who's the he that's going to be paying taxes? Your uncle is dead. So who are you concerned about paying taxes if it's not you? Again, just strange and a red flag. But I still play along, and so I ask, hey, well, can we set up this video call that I talked about so I can see you? I can see the comics are actually in your possession since I can't come out to Washington to see them. And if I see him with these comics, I don't know what I would do. But he's, again, weird stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all, except I'm in Rochester, New York right now, clearing out his vacation home, and my wife is in Washington with my mom, dad, sister, and daughter, and my uncle. And my other cousin is flying here tomorrow to help me tackle all of this. So I could FaceTime or something, but I'm not with the comics. My wife is, and I understand, sir. That's actually why I only asked for 25% of the asking price, and the rest, once you get them all, to help alleviate that bit of fear, and vice versa. You're not alleviating anything for me. And just a strange story again. And you told me you were in Washington for a month, and now all of a sudden you're saying in New York, and it's just your wife that's back there. Come on, dude, give me a break. And so I say, well, is there any way you can confirm that your wife has them in possession? Can you send me some pictures with the comics with my name on them? Like in a little index card. And he does send me some pictures with his name on them. So I do think these comics might actually be in the possession of him. And I don't know if this is actually his real name, but I think he has these, but he doesn't put my name on them. Again, just weird stuff. And so I say, hey, well, what if I send you just $10 and then you send me just one of those comics that you showed me? And so he says that he can send me a copy of Batman Adventures #1 that's worth roughly $15. And again, here's another red flag. You told me you didn't know anything about comics. And now all of a sudden you know what this minor key is worth. You're telling me Batman Adventures #1 is worth about $15. And you don't know what ASM 129 or Secret Wars 8 or some of these other big keys are worth? Give me a break, dude. And again, I think he has this in possession, and he's hoping that I send him this $10. And I think he actually would send me this Batman Adventures #1. And then he's thinking that, oh, once I get that, I'll really believe that he's going to send me all these other comics, and I'll send him that $250 or whatever it might be. And then he'll take off and run with it, wherever he is at in the country. And so at this point, I've had my fun, and I'm just kind of done. That was the last straw. Oh, you actually know what these comics are worth. This is fishier and fishier by the moment. And so I ended the correspondence at that point. So I didn't get any comics, But I did get an interesting story, and so I hope you enjoyed that and had a few laughs. Of course, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd appreciate if you'd consider doing so now. Like, comment, all those good things that help us out. Thanks for watching, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one.